Alrighty, good evening, everybody. My name is Paul Silinch. I'm one of the organizers of the cross-cultural, cross-sectoral hackathon between culture and well-being. And welcome to our first official workshop for the hackathon. And today's topic is going to be ideation and prototyping. Basically, the aim of the workshop is to help you get to the best possible idea with which to work or on which to work throughout the hackathon that is still a bit ways off, roughly 1.5 weeks away. And of course, also to learn about different tools and ways to go about prototyping, more specifically in the case of participating in an online hackathon. But before we jump in, I just wanted to say that this hackathon is a part of the European Union co-founded project Awake, Arts and Well-being as a Creative Business and Future Livelihood. And it is implemented by the Northern Dimension Partnership on Culture in close cooperation with Lapinlad and Lad from Finland, Cluj Central Center from Romania, and the Culture and Health Center from France. As mentioned before, oh, I love that more people are joining in. That's amazing. As mentioned before, this is going to be the first of several workshops. So today we are going to be talking about ideation and prototyping. Next Tuesday, on the 20th of May, we are going to be having a workshop on team creation. So during that workshop, I'm going to be the one leading it as well, and I will try to help you find the best teammates for your teams to work together with throughout the hackathon. And then the third workshop, it's going to take place on the 27th of May or on the second day of the hackathon. During that workshop, we will learn about pitching or, the tips and tricks how to best present your project at the end of the hackathon. Because there are certain rules, there are time limits, and there are ways to go about it. And that's why we will have an expert on this and she will share the best ways to do that. Um, then today let's focus on ideation and prototyping, as said before. And I think this is it from my side. I'm not going to be the one leading it, I'm just the one moderating. And so, without any further ado, I'd love to welcome to the stage or give the spotlight over to Kārlis Jonāss, Innovation Strategy Consultant, who is going to be the lead of this workshop. Kārlis, I'm giving it over to you.
Or I probably have to change my title so then to way too fancy and probably not that fancy. Probably need something humbler, just a consultant. But hey, nice of you to join in. My name's Kārlis, and you also shared where you're from. I'm from Riga, Latvia, as Scotland and Pauls. So yeah, it's terrible weather. It's cold. It feels like winter, but it's green, but it's winter. And yeah, ideation and prototyping, these two topics have been a part of my professional journey ever since I began it, more or less 8 years ago, when I started out as a UX consultant, and through the years I have emerged as currently as an independent consultant working with startups and corporates and helping them with the customer discovery. And what do I mean by that is really nailing down that match between my idea and the customer problem. And that really involves lots of ideation, lots of prototyping. And today, probably my main goal would be to equip you with some practical tools that you can use to arrive with an idea that you could prototype or arrive with a low fidelity prototype that could guide you in terms of what is it that you want to build over the hackathon. And because I believe that the big challenge to getting there is really getting that team alignment and what is it that we are after all in the first place. And there are lots of frameworks for that. Um, I'm going to be also sharing this mirror board with you. So this is something that I'm going to walk you through today. So this is yeah, the Miro template. I'm going to walk you through some of the exercises. Uh, with some of the exercises, I'm going to engage you more in discussion and making notes myself. For some exercises, what I'd like you to prepare, if you have a A4 sheet and a pen with you, so that'd be nice. We're going to go through one really quick ideation exercise ourselves. So if you have a paper and pen, that's great. If you don't have, then a notebook that you can open and is also fine. If you don't have paper at all, then you can go, of course, with digital version of it. But I think paper is going to be way better. And what else? I'm going to also, at some point during the later part of the workshop, invite you to join the Miro board. So I'm already copying the link in the chat, so you can open it as already now, because I'm going to ask you to paste some of your sketches if we're going to get so far within the time we have available today. And yeah, and the very cool part is that I'm gonna yeah share. So this mirror board is gonna be available for you after the workshop, and I'm gonna open up a fresh template that you're gonna be able to copy and paste to your own mirror boards and engage your team on that. So yeah, and maybe just to share some theory a little bit on what is the approaches we're going to be working on. So here's also a link to two templates I'm taking inspiration from. So these are, I would say those are like two little Bibles of mine when it comes to ideation, prototyping, and innovation. So this is really uh, kind of a workshop guide for you to arrive at ideas that where you have a click with your customer. So I definitely suggest you to take a look at it, because also the exercises we're going to walk through today. Um, are somewhat taken from these. So this is not something that I've made up. Usually I don't have many original ideas. I'm just having maybe original connections. So how you put this together. So yeah, but before we get there, what I wanted to ask you, and this is where I'd like your input, and this is where you can freely untap your mic. So I kind of have shared what is, oops, I'm trying to bend the Zoom. What I wanted to ask you, so I kind of haven't used some of the my agenda, what I have in mind for us today. So maybe you want to bring up some questions that you'd like to for us to look at, because ideation and prototyping, that's those. I don't know, Impulse, why how you put this into one workshop, so they deserve two different workshops, but uh, maybe there are particular things you'd like to explore, a topic or a question you'd like to answer by the end. So this is your chance to organize your agenda as well. So I'd be happy to hear from you. What is it that you want to get away from today's session? Because I can talk a lot, and you might not get anything unless you tell me.
Also, I think feel free to write it in the chat in case you don't want to unmute yourselves. But of course, it's better to hear the voice.
Hey, we are not in person. I'm not going to bite.
So
Okay,
what the question is do you want to know what we want to get from the workshop? Sorry, I didn't get very well.
Exactly. So what are the questions or topics you want to cover or explore today? Like I presented my agenda of what I plan to walk you through, but probably you have joined the hackathon, and then there are particular questions you might have regarding ideation, prototyping, and I really want to learn what is it that you're after. That can be a topic you would like to touch upon, on which I can talk on a bit more. Maybe it's a particular part regarding prototyping or ideation, or maybe there is a particular question when it comes to these topics. So this is just open your mic and share whatever comes to your mind. So got
okay,
it. Yay,
yeah.
nice.
Okay, so I was wondering if like is prototyping, does it have to be okay, let's see how to put it. Like for example, I can make the prototype for myself so that I understand the idea and see how it would look like, or would it be necessary that I include like people from outside and use the prototype as like so that they can comment on my idea? Like, and what's the right at what point should I bring like other people to view my idea and see like, okay, this is not working, or this is like weird and not understandable, and so on.
Okay, very good questions. I think these are super relevant questions for everyone. Thanks, Kat. That one should we involve others. Noted. Ionit, what about you?
I think in my case, I don't have a specific questions. Like I come from the academic background, so for me
Yeah.
this is completely new. So for me, I think it was more like to learn about the process of how
Mm,
to make an idea real and understand actually what prototyping is, because honestly, I'm not completely sure I understand what it is.
yeah.
So
Well, to be honest, me neither. Because I think there are so many definitions
good.
for prototyping, and I think there are like you have a viewpoint from academic perspective. What is prototype? I more come from the business environment. I have my perspective. Then there's the industrial designers. So we're gonna definitely look into maybe what is a prototype. I think that's also a good question to tackle. Okay.
Yeah,
What
I have a
else? Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea. Maybe I'm swimming in another field now because I'm just thinking how like budgeting and money is involved in prototyping. Like,
Mm.
is this something connected or I'm like shooting wrong?
Um, all right, that's a good one. I don't know if we're gonna. I don't have any content around this question, but I think there could be a good discussion because I have some thoughts. So I think we're gonna cover it at some point during the session. Thanks, Rita.
So basically, I involve in IT side. So using this prototype, whether we want to show the output of the entire application and how we're going to evaluate this hackathon result. So what is the
Mm.
expectation from the participant to do?
Okay, so, okay, I see. How to evaluate the work of the hackathon. I think that's also a question to Paul's, but we can. Uh,
A bit later on, I can definitely give the answer to this. What is expected? How we'll evaluate this, and yeah, I'll definitely answer this later.
But it also goes along with the question of prototyping because I have some opinions around this. Okay, we have some questions, some really good ones, and kind of I would say that at this point, process of making idea real is something that we're gonna like this workshop exercises that you'll be able to do it more in depth with your teams is going to be something that um, yeah, is going to talk about this point. What is a prototype? I think this is something we're going to touch upon later at the end of the session, because kind of the purpose of the session is really to help you get to a phase where you have idea of the prototype, and then the questions regarding involving people and budgeting and evaluating it. I think this is going to be something that will kick off the Q&A part. But yeah, maybe to give my personal lens. So for for you to successful, maybe I can stop sharing the screen before I uh, jump into the exercises I have prepared for you. Um, one critical thing, I don't know, okay, since you have me in spotlight, I'm just gonna remove it because otherwise I see myself and it seems so weird. But I'm talking with you, and I have at least those of you, Yone and Kate, who have you have the cameras on, so I can talk with you. So looking at prototyping, I think, and even also with the hackathons, what's been my experience is that when people join these, you usually come with the idea. You already have some sort of solution in mind, what you want to work on, what you want to create, and that's all cool. But at the end of the day, even if you come with an idea to the hackathon with a solution, at some point you'll need to engage the people who would be the users or the customers who would be paying for the solution, or is that a business or even a social project? There's still the customer that is returning and using it, and if there's no need for it, then what even I'm doing? And sometimes, even if you already have ideas submitted to the Paul's, you mentioned that there are some ideas already there. It's cool because through ideating around it, prototyping, and then engaging users, customers, stakeholders, you can understand if there is this click, whether there is the interest, or whether it's solving something. But I kind of am a advocate of problem first, solution second approach. That you should start at understanding, okay, what is the problem in the first place I want to solve? And I think what is really cool about you that you're already like kind of assume that you're representing different backgrounds, maybe the IT side, Jonāss, academic, and probably there are also designers. So you have many competencies here present, and that's really cool. And I think it's going to be super effective. The workshop led by Paul's when you're going to be forming the teams around them. But it's quite critical to understand, okay, what might be some problems that we see in our environment that we could solve through hackathon, and for whom, because that will kind of increase the chance that when you actually arrive at prototyping, you're going to be closer to the best solution rather than just shooting in the dark. So that would be one important point here, and therefore starting out um, the exercises that I have added here on my mirror board is um, before you. So I think when you're going to form the teams after next workshop, this is a quick meeting that you can run in your teams. So thinking about who's your customer, or user or stakeholder, or for whom you want to solve something, or even if you have an idea already. So okay, for whom it is, understanding and then looking into, okay, what are the particular challenges we want to solve for the target audience. And although you could go even deeper, and this book that I have added here gives you more elaborate, we could call them exercises that walk you through more in-depth analysis of the problem space and helps you arrive at the proper business hypothesis that you can test. I think for starters, uh, customer and problem is already a good brief to work on. And for us to proceed further, what I'd like to do with you now, I'm not going to ask you to do anything in mirror board, so I'm just going to be making notes myself. But I'd like to engage you in a discussion on what are some customer types that are coming to your mind when you think about who is it that you want to help in the hackathon. And here, yeah, you can just open your mic and share some ideas so that we have some brainstorm going. Here are some examples. I don't know if they are the best examples, but example as I see, freelancers struggling with cash flow. That might be a target audience. So kind of I'm already leaning towards kind of the problem, struggling with cash flow. But anyway, so you do see the idea where what comes to your mind when you think of who is someone you'd like to serve? Shoot it out.
Well, I'm just thinking of my idea that I had for the hackathon. So, but I was thinking that my customer is the one who needs this product, let's say, and in my
Okay,
case,
so what is your, maybe you can share what is your idea. So let's go from there.
so the idea would be to make like learning materials or a game or something that would be used for kids that have learning disabilities. So the customer is the kid, or is it like schools and kindergartens and teachers,
Uh-huh.
parents?
So nice. You're touching the question of users and customers. So I think here it's important in your case to look from the both perspectives because you're selling to both. So if the user, the kid, is going to struggle like engaging with the materials, right? Then what's the point? But also you have to think about how do you wrap it and sell it to the school or the parent. But we could for time being we could write kids with and what was the condition there?
Like learning disabilities.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. So we have to okay, let's go for some more maybe. Ione, what comes to your mind? So you're from academic environment. What are some challenging stakeholders?
Um, okay, in my case, I don't have like a super clear idea. I have like a different
So there's no
things.
need to explain the idea, just shoot
Okay,
the
okay.
potential customer groups you'd like to work with.
Well, you know, taking into account my background and where I come from, the stakeholders that I'm used to work are people that work in city councils,
Okay.
and then others would be well, you're writing down artist. I was
So that's
thinking
not me, that's
also.
someone else. So
Okay,
that's
good, good.
someone who's I don't know, maybe not even from this workshop. So all right, but you said city councils, right?
Yeah, people that work in city councils,
Okay, people. So those are
like the technical part, like the you have like the political level and then you have the technical level who are the people who take decisions in terms of how to design certain plans or
okay.
certain
Maybe that
interventions in a neighborhood, things like that. But
maybe that's like urban planners.
for example, yes, yes, this is a bit more specific. Yes.
Okay, yeah, but like for example, okay. So we
Yes, yes,
have
yes.
okay, so fair enough. Paula, do you since you have camera on, so I'm speaking with those who have camera on. So Paula, do you have any things that come to your mind about the potential target audience you'd like to work on in the hackathon?
Of
Uh,
neurodivergent children. Was it me?
yeah, that was a question to you. So is there any target audience that you'd like to add besides what we have here on the mural board?
The children with learning disabilities, because I was thinking about neurodivergent children.
Neurodivergent.
I mean, it's a whole a big spectrum, but it's neurodivergent.
Divergent, yeah.
I think she meant neuro,
Neuro. Oh,
N-E-U-R.
okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Thanks for
Right?
correcting me. Or Nero, like, or, sorry. N-E-U.
Yes, N-E-U-R-O. Yes.
All right. Sorry for my stupidity here. All right. Okay, people in therapy. Okay. So but this was just to get some content out of here. Okay, so those are quite diverse target audiences, and what is essentially this workshop leads you to do is to, for example, when you're going to team up, for example, in groups of three, you can do a quick brainstorm of who you could serve, and then within the team, you can do a quick. So first of all, you just brainstorm and do a silent vote and make a decision. And for time being, what we could do in Miro. So I see 7 people besides me are here, so that's really cool. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna jump into one quick Miro vote tag exercise. So let me select the area. Um, yeah, and I'm going to ask you to just click one of the target audiences you'd like to explore today further into the workshop. Yeah, just so I'm gonna start the vote. You can join voting and click one one thing that you'd like to vote for. So this is probably something that's not going to be available to you in your mural, since this I think comes in a paid version, but you can easily use the sticky dots that are available in the template there that I shared here. But for now, let's just vote for a minute. Okay, all 7 voted. Let's say end for all, end session, and all right. So we're gonna I'm gonna take up the role of decider. So this is another thing. Maybe looking into the exercise, the idea when it comes to these workshops, and also if you look into these books, it's really critical that you have a clear person who's calling the shots. So who's going to be the one kind of pushing this idea further. I think in your case, you're going to be forming teams of 2 or 3 people. So you might just as well decide together, but in a real life scenario, especially if you're working with as a business who has a vision. So you probably select an audience that you could work with as a decider. And as for today's session, I'm just going to take people in therapy because that's also the most upvoted. But also, I think this is something that is rather general, and we can build on top of it during the session because probably freelancers or urban planners and the city councils might be too specific, and we might not have the context. But probably people in therapy, this is something we can imagine because this is something either we've done therapy or something similar. So let me have it. Okay, I'm just gonna copy and paste it here. Yeah, perfect. All right, cool. The next part therefore in the workshop is okay. We have a target audience, people in therapy, and I don't know. I think it was Oldest. I think you added it. Next, we can start brainstorming what are the problems we can solve for people in therapy, and pretty much it goes using the same approach. So we brainstorm, we vote, and we decide. So this is something that you can redo afterwards in your themes. And so again, discussion with you. What are the challenges that come to your mind when you think of people in therapies?
Maybe they don't know how to solve their problem. Actually, they are confused.
Okay, they don't know how to solve their problem. Okay. Okay, what else?
Older generations who think that therapy don't work, maybe.
Perception that therapy isn't working.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hi, I think problem is what to do after the therapy.
So lack of clarity, what to do after therapy.
Mm.
Okay. Ione.
I think sometimes maybe people don't know that much about what it's out there in terms of therapy. They maybe end up with a therapist because a friend recommend them or things like that, and they really don't know like the the big amount of types of therapy or yeah that they could do and for them to be able to also decide maybe what is the best option for them for their specific problem and their specific personality.
Okay. Kind of know the 2 points. So understanding the possibilities and also choosing the best one. Okay, so we have some pain points coming up. Anything else you'd like to add? Sylvia?
Yes, maybe I was thinking about like it's linked to the perception in the society. It may come with some shamey, I mean, sharing it with the others that you were in therapy, And this is also linked to maybe then some community of similar people. I haven't managed to share my idea, but my idea was actually like for cancer survivors, which I'm one of, and sometimes it's difficult to, share your struggles with the rest of the population, I would say. So.
Okay, thanks for sharing and for being here, Sylvia. I think probably I would write it as a lack of support community. That's the challenge you are bringing up here. Okay, so we have some points. Good, and now again the thing that we can do is we can do a voting round to understand which is the most critical pain point, or the most let's say which is the biggest pain that we could solve. What if we solve this, which brings the most impact to people's life, um, or helps them interpret. Of course, there's you can do more throughout research and understanding what is the goal in the first place, but at least this is a starting point. So let me do a quick voting session again so that we have the a challenge to work on further. So I'm gonna again put one vote to 1 minute. So feel free to jump in. I'm gonna join voting as well, and I'm gonna for the example demo for this one. So done. Yeah. Okay, and seems everyone's done as well. So let me end it for all. And session.
Sorry, I don't manage actually to open this Miro link, so I'm just gonna listen and like try to follow you with this because I'm
No
giving
worries.
up.
As far as you're listening and saying this is more of a walkthrough of the exercise that you can do with your teams internally afterwards. Okay, so we have the hard to understand, and then we have quite many smaller ones. Kind of also like the lack of clarity what to do after the therapy. But okay, but this at this point this is not that important. I'm just gonna and then you can also, if you in your team have decided, you can go for it, and then we have we have some sort of we have a person in mind, and we have a problem in mind. Of course, there might be more challenges, and you could also go for solving more challenges, but this already gives you kind of a guiding star, as if you were sailing in, Columbus time, and you're looking, hey, there's Polar Star, and this kind of already gives that direction for you. So you're not just trying to think of a random idea that we could work on. That would be really cool, which is still fine, but this gives you um, direction, and of course you could go and probably this could be a nice point where so you have this. Let me copy them and paste here, where you have something, but you of course could stop here and do more research and actually reach out to people that actually are in therapy and interview them on okay, what are the challenges? Um, so yeah, or in this case, maybe the challenge people in therapy hard to understand what is the best therapy. So maybe you kind of tell when you're working with people in therapy, so they probably have got something. But let's assume that we are continuing to work with this. But yeah, I think this was also a question: should I include other people with my prototype? When should we involve other people? You might, you should not. You, I think a good point where to involve other people is already before you jump into prototyping, so that you have more insights. Even in the case if you are if you are kind of if you yourself are a person in therapy and you have this personal insight upon which you understand the problem, it's still good to get this outside backing, because I have had a situation where I was working in one of the agencies as a project manager, and we had the one startup that came with lots of money and said, build this without any validation. So yeah. And the motivation was because I know it because I'm building it for myself, which is a fine thing to do, but perhaps it's better to check and validate if it's also the problem and as such an issue for others. So yeah. Um, One thing probably you're wondering, okay, what is this box for? So we didn't have how much we exercise. So we had two exercises. So Kārlis, where's the third one? This is more of a way how you can bridge your gap between the problem space. So this is kind of our problem space, the customer, the problem. So we have the problem. Uh, and okay, so how do we start going about potential solutions to understanding what is the best therapy? And the one nice method is the so-called how might we questions, where you essentially try and reframe your challenge into how might we question, where you where you kind of combine these two parts into the question. So how might we help people? Maybe I'm just going to twitch people in therapy to people interested in therapy. Therapy. Oops. To understand what is the best type for that. And as a result, what we have, of course, we could have different variations of this question. So we could try and frame different ideation questions from this challenge. But this already guides us to the path to start thinking. So probably if you looked only at this and someone asks you, okay, think of solutions, what comes to your mind? And start thinking versus if you have a question. So this is kind of we are currently living in the age of AI and and you have lots of courses on prompt design. So I would say that's the same for humans. So you have to prompt the human as well for you to get the answer you're looking for, and this is one way to do that. So yeah, so far so good. Cool. So what's next? So we're not going to jump into this exercise. So this is something I just want to kind of share with you that you could do yourselves in your team. So by now you have a question. What you look for, you could look at what others are doing, competitors, alternatives, how are currently people looking for therapy, looking into some solutions that you could take an inspiration from. Before you jump into ideation, you might as well already start adding some ideas on how others are doing that, so you can kind of have a base understanding of that, and also start adding some inspirations that could guide you in your ideation process because we're not original, so we are humans. We steal ideas from each other and put them into unique combinations. And I believe that's what also that's the difference between two words, invention and innovation. I think in many circles people put these two words together, but actually those are two unrelated. Like those are related things. Invention is also an innovation, but innovation is not necessarily an invention. So you might put together two previously unconnected things and come up with an innovation, but they've been already invented a long time before. But that's just a little note here. So this is a thing that you could do in your internal workshop when you form the team. And then here comes the fun part. So this is where we're going to jump into sketching because again, looking at this book, so this is a recommendation. I would urge you to Google it, and you're going to find the Amazon link. You're going to also find a PDF in the web. So I didn't say that. But a book that pretty much provides you with a workshop of how you can validate your idea with the customers, and these exercises are taken from there. And this is also a template, like the full template upon which I have also built today. So in the Mirrorverse. So feel free to check it out later on. And it comes also with talk tracks, so good stuff. So this is something, Pulse, you can also integrate in the hackathon maybe. Anyhow, there are some good ideation exercises, uh, starting with and the very idea is that you have four exercises that are building on top of each other. So you start with just taking notes of your sketches of the problem. You start sketching out ideas, and you go through a more, let's say, more pressured exercise, such as crazy eights, and you find kind of end up with a final solution sketch that you can present to your team members. So the idea is that these three exercises is something that you do individually. So you're in the same Zoom room, but you're going through them individually. And then you arrive at this final one, and this is something you present to the others. So that's the idea, and going through one by one and building on top of each other. But for today's workshop, we're gonna do just one exercise. No, we're gonna do two exercises actually. We're gonna try and do, okay, maybe at least one. We'll start with crazy eights, and then we'll think about if we want to do a solution sketch or not. But the idea here. So hey, who's trying to steal the board? I'm gonna lock it. For this exercise, you're gonna need an A4 sheet. If you don't have an A4 sheet, then open your notebook and split the page into four spaces or plots that you can work on. If you're using an A4 sheet, then just go for creating the 8 spaces this way by folding the paper 3 times, and you arrive at something like this. So not perfect, but will work. And what we'll try and do is, so we have this question that we arrived at. I'm going to paste it here and I'm going to make it bigger. So how might we help people interested in therapy to understand what is the best type for them? So and what we'll do, we'll try and go through the ideation exercises based on this question. And how this exercise works is like you have the crazy and the eights part. The eights part is quite obvious. So you have 8 spaces, so you probably should arrive at 8 ideas. So that's number one. Number two um, is the crazy part. Crazy because we're going to have only 1 minute per idea. So I'm going to have the mirror timer here. I'm going to add 1 minute. And you're gonna hear a bell, hopefully. If not, then I'm gonna just tell that minute is over. And this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna repeat 8 times, and that would serve as an indication that you should move to the next idea. But the other crazy part, besides the time pressure, is that instead of writing, I'm gonna urge you to draw. Because at the end of the day, the solution you're gonna create is gonna be visual, somewhat visual, that you're gonna present to the customers or try to sell to them. So why not starting visual already now? And because these visuals gonna help you also with developing your concept further. So that's the idea. 8 ideas in the form of sketch, 1 minute per idea, thinking of 8 different ideas how you could go about this question. Ready to go? Let's go. I'm going to start the first minute. I'm going to try and sketch myself something as well. So how might we help people interested in therapy to understand what is the best form of therapy for them? All right, first minute down. We have 7 more to go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay, 6 left. Okay, 5 more. If you feel stuck, you might ask yourself a question. What could be the craziest idea? Or what could be the dumbest idea? Or what could be the worst idea? See what happens. Okay, we have 4 more to go. We are halfway. Okay, 3 more to go. Okay, Maddie, I see your point. This is not about the hackathon. This is more of a walkthrough of the exercises that you can use to brainstorm yourselves. Okay, we have 2 more to go. And the final one, final one, final one. All right, congratulations, you survived it. Um, at this point, you can, when you're going to be in your teams, you can share the ideas also, so you can have a discussion around them, so that you open up the space. In this pre-methodology, based on the book that I shared before, you might as well just continue with this final exercise because the idea of this is just to have raw sketch and individual thinking because I think we're all familiar with the brainstorm when you meet in a business like in an office building in a meeting and then you just shout out ideas and all this idea wins or something. Then what I like about this approach is that you give people the time to prepare their input, and that was also similar in this first exercises with the problem and the customer. So you try and get everyone's input and have it written so that you can discuss it, and it applies here the same. But to move forward, I think we're gonna do this exercise. We're gonna do it quick. So I think if you're in a because it will help me better also share some thoughts on how you can go about prototyping afterwards. But the very idea of these exercises that you build on, so you start taking notes on your research, for example, you start sketching just open-ended ideas, writing, drawing. Then you might conduct the crazy eights to put more structure. You might also use the crazy eight. So we used it for 8 different ideas. But it also might come that you already have some links between the ideas and having some workflow developing. So at least in my brainstorm today, I understood that, hey, that actually the last ideas that came from the question, what could be totally crazy to do, actually gave me some ideas that link together. Uh, and on top of that, you'll by doing those exercises, you're more prepared to develop a more detailed sketch. So if we started with a more detailed sketch, you'd be like a bit stuck. So where do I start? Now you have the content to kind of stick together, maybe look into the demos or this from or the ideas from the previous exercises. And here my suggestion would be that for the next 10 minutes, we try and take one of the ideas that you have to just draw in the crazy eight and try to deliver it as a solution sketch. So what is that one main point under this idea that you want to bring to the others and discuss? So what is your proposal to answering this question or working around it? So this question still is really big, but I think you see the point. And this is something in your teams that you could do individually so that you can afterwards discuss it. And that means that the idea should be not like a quick sketch within a minute that we just did, which is probably not in the best shape. Probably you can only you understand it. So this is where you probably want to spend more time to have more details so that people just by looking at a drawing could get an impression of what this is all about. And pretty much the format is the following that you might take a blank page, start having those let's say sketches around or having a bigger detail. I think a critical part here is that you also add the descriptions, so to the drawings or visuals you have. And finally, not only that you have drawings and some notes to the drawings, you have a name. So what is the title of this idea. Of course, this is something that you do all in a drawing, so similar as here. But if you don't have paper, you can of course go digital. But this is just the point here. In your team, you can do more time than 10 minutes for such an exercise. You might do this a homework that you do it overnight and prepare it in more detail. But for today, we're just gonna take 10 quick minutes to try and take one of the ideas from the Crazy Eights and transform it into either let's say 3 slides. This can be approached. You can do one kind of how do you call them, booklet, flyer. Yeah, that was the word. Something like that. But you try this? Okay, so for also instructions, you can come here. So if you think about well, what is important or what is not important, you can also look at the tips and rules and inspiration. So let us have 10 minutes for this. Play around, enjoy. It's Thursday evening. Doing some sketching and artistic thing around. So set the timer. One idea from the Crazy Eights into a bigger detail, you can turn the other side of the page.
I was thinking maybe you can put on some background music while we wait.
No, I'm gonna do this on purpose. Actually, I used to love music during the brainstorms, but I've come to understand that actually silence is way better because
Okay,
you like put your focus.
perfect.
So it's probably you're not doing the sketch. You're not doing the sketch. So you
I was like waiting for some music or
or
mood.
probably it depends from people to people,
But
from
all
person
right,
to
yeah, yeah.
person.
Let's do no music. But I did the Crazy Eight, so I am gonna do the sketch.
All right. Hey, showing up again, still the thing, still the thing. Maybe that's true. Ah, no, it's not working that way. Probably should have one instruction so they're aware what to do and what not to do, but hey, everything's fine. We have 5 more minutes. Okay, we have the last minute. Okay, I think I hope you managed to arrive at something. Because yeah, I'll probably you need more time for this to develop in more detail. But we're doing this just for the sake of the exercise and understand how you could replicate this workshop we're going through in your own team when you're going to form it. So ideally, you have a sketch. So I have it, and I already made a photo of it. So this is something you can already do. Do a picture of it, and drag and drop it in the Miro board. So I'm gonna already send it to my computer. So I'm gonna add it. Oh, let me get it back. Um, I'm going to add it here, the first one. But the cool thing about this exercise is that you probably want to keep the solutions anonymous. Like, of course, if you're working duo or trio, probably that might not that make that much sense. But if you're working 4 or 5 people, it might be a nice way to do it because then you don't have any bias towards a particular solution. So currently, I have shared mine, and but those of you who are gonna add them, maybe gonna have better luck. But how you can add this to Miro board? So first of all, you have to manage to send it to your computer. Might be easiest if you have WhatsApp on your phone and a computer, then you can do it that way. Or if you have a email on your phone, which is not a good thing, but most of us do have it on our phones, then you can just send it to your in an email and open it in desktop and add it. So I'm gonna wait for 2 minutes for you to add some things here so that we can I can walk you through this other exercise. Of course, when we see that this is for Paul's because see his name there. So another thing that usually when you run like such workshops, you have one designated facilitator in the team, especially if you're a team of 4 or 5 people, then you might send your sketches to one facilitator so that the facilitator knows who's, but the others have the surprise. Okay, cool. So we have some sketches coming in. I usually, when I'm doing these sprints, I'm working more uh, as a facilitator and then a coach. I'm not doing sketches, but I'm enjoying this training because I'm joining in with sketching together with you, which is really cool to be kind of a participant as well. Okay, let's wait for 1 more minute for those of you who have something. Because then I'm going to walk you through the exercises that you can do to explore these concepts. But we're not gonna necessarily like do them. All right, cool. So we have 3 concepts there on board. Let's act that we don't know who they are. Anyhow, the idea is that instead of just jumping into discussion and presenting them, one exercise that you can conduct is before any discussion, doing a quick heat map. So copying and pasting some digital sticky notes and just highlighting which of the parts on the sketches that you see you like. So I like the dedicated channel. Looks super interesting and could be easy to create. Hey, that looks like an AI assistant to me. Okay, so what else there? So it seems some sort of questionnaire that leads me to the therapist. I'm super like this. Cool. Um, that's the idea of the exercise. And if you have 4 or 5 people, then what you're going to see, you're going to start seeing trends. So what is receiving attention? So it means that it might be something interesting to play around in your prototype. When you have it, then you can do a speed review. So you can go through each of the concept and explore the key details and, for example, add labels to the key ideas, such as AI assistant. My spelling is the worst. Okay, then we have the YouTube channel. Perhaps this might be something that could be combined even. And this is let's call it the form. Uh, so I'm not going into too much detail. Of course, we have a discussion around here because this is where we get aligned on what are those top ideas that we have in the concepts. And then you go for voting. Like this approach, sprinting is really focused on making it quick. So trying to avoid deep discussion, but just having participants, like the members of the team, share their take on which do they think is the most suitable concept. And the same goes for the team decider. So if you're working in a team of 5, already have some things at stake, and you have a founder, for example, in your business or a manager, usually that's the person that's going to be pushing this idea forward. So therefore, you need to decide. But I think in this case, um, we might avoid that. But essentially, what you're voting for when you're doing this straw poll vote is you're voting for what will be the main concept. And for this, we could I don't know if you are still here present. We could do a quick voting using the voting mechanism here. I'm just gonna try. So it's gonna appear as 4 concepts, but essentially we're voting for this and this. So let's have one vote each for 1 minute. So we kind of briefly touched upon and explore the main points. So let's just do a quick vote. So this is not for like we're only going to be prototyping it, but I just need it for to explain how to go about how to go further about the workshop and the output. So we have all people done. Oh no. So fifth person. Oh no, we were done for all. Okay, and for all. End session. All right, cool. So we have the form. Okay. That's super great. So of course, we probably want to hear more from Kata on on the idea, but I'm just gonna assume you have shared everything you have to say about the idea. I'm just gonna let's say copy and paste it. And the result, what you get through such a workshop is that you start forming your ideas somehow. So you have the brief. So this is something we had here. Let me copy it. Oh, and here we go. Voila. So we arrive at the concept that you can start thinking about prototyping. So you have a brief. So people for whom that is, what is the challenge? You have the how likely question that we ideated about. So this was more for the ideation purpose. So we can take it even off. And we have an idea, like kind of a form that helps the people in therapy find their most suitable therapist through AI-powered forum, right, Kate?
Yeah, kind of.
All right, kind of. That's good enough for today. So maybe I'm just gonna.
Yeah, I didn't write a title, but it was like kind of
So what
like,
is the title? What is the title?
I don't know, BuzzFeed therapy quiz. No.
Therapy. All right, perfect. I think this is really cool. Um, so this is something that we can really so kind of have a solid case prototype. We kind of have the concept, we have the brief, we know what to do, and maybe what I'd like to spend the last few minutes before we go back to those questions. So, okay, if you arrive at this concept, what do you do next? So, nice work. So, one thing, since you have aligned on something in your team that you're going to do the BuzzFeed Therapy quiz, the question you might ask yourselves is, okay, what is it that you want to test? What are the big hypothesis questions you'd like to validate? Probably under this feed therapy quiz is something that if people maybe looking for therapy, interested in therapy, um, had an easy quiz solution that's AI powered that shows them the therapist, they would be more likely to go for one. I think that's a big hypothesis, but most probably there are also some detailed hypotheses that you might have around the question type and also the output, but I'm not going to go into there. One more, and this is kind of already a tool for prototyping, although it might not seem like one. So you can hardly call this a prototype. This is more of a prototype plan. But the next good step would be for you to turn the sketch into a customer kind of a workflow of, okay, what if this quiz was out there? How it looked from the customer perspective? What would be the steps they would go from? So where would they find us? So what is the opening? So I don't know, scrolling BuzzFeed or whatever comes to your mind. And then what is the flow of the workflow and what is the result? This is something that you can map out because as a result, you're gonna be quite aligned in your team. What is it that you're building? You're gonna have clear steps and maybe some inspirations again that you can steal from your lightning demos. So this inspiration board that I shared before in the exercise. And when you have the storyboard, then it's actually quite easy. Like one thing is, of course, you can do it the old school mode and try and explore Figma. Maybe someone is familiar with this design tool. They are currently also offering like that you can even turn your design into a site. So this is cool stuff. Maybe a tool that might be more maybe not familiar, but easier. So this is um, a tool for UI design where you can turn AI prompts and generate design. And this is something where you can where this brief really helps you a lot. And then when you open up and explore the solution deeper, then you can pretty much take the step of the storyboard and ask to perform to turn it into design. So this is more of like for UI design, but what is really cool these days is that you can actually get really high fidelity prototypes quite quickly, even as a no code person. You have like I think it's in the pro versions of Gemini or ChatGPT, but you can uh, code an app with a particular prompt and the uh, and the Gemini, for example, would display it uh, on the as a thing that you can create. Maybe we can try it out here. There are many YouTube videos on this. Go now put a quiz on therapy with 10 questions to okay, so let's see what he comes up with. Okay, so here we go. We have a preview. I'm not gonna no, I don't know what we're gonna arrive at after this. Okay, so it gave me quiz. Okay, but this is code. This is something that you can copy and paste and later on build with again other prompt to code tools such as Replit, that again helps you turn your code, like helps you create code with prompts and turn it into a website or web tool. Also Epic, and a similar tool is Lovable. Um, Definitely recommend you to look at it. So what I'm trying to say is that it's easy to create things. It's super easy to prototype, especially in information technology these days. What is quite critical is that you get this thing right. And this is, I would say that these days, this is the hard stuff, if you want to do it good. Um, and later on, creating a prototype that you can test, or maybe even customers can start using it. Then it's becoming easier and easier. So these days, these tools more are for the front end. If we're talking in digital solutions, I think they are not, I don't know their capabilities with the back end, but what I have heard from the startups I have worked with is that for the back end, you still need a developer who would help you with that. But yeah, so yeah, this is pretty much the it of the workshop. And maybe before I return back to these questions that you posed in the beginning, would there be anything you'd like to ask about what we've gone through?
Yeah, I didn't get this last thing. Where were you? On Miro still or somewhere else?
No, I was sharing my screen with other tabs, so I shared the tool on I'm
You're
using
sharing the
AI.
screen.
Yeah, so um
Okay.
so you can see the
Oh, now
tabs
I
here.
can see. Yeah, I
It's
just
a
didn't get
browser.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks Vita for clarifying. Ione. Yeah.
Well, my question is like, does does the final idea or prototype be a product? It needs to be a product, an actual product, like a technological thing or yeah, whatever, or it can be a process. Like I'm asking this because, for example, my sketch, I couldn't copy paste it. I'm sorry, I don't know why. But
Oh, it's fine.
for example, the sketch that I've done, it was more about like, for example, putting people together that are using different types of therapy and exchange their experiences and then exchange therapy. So, like saying, okay, so from what I heard, I like yours, so I'm gonna do yours for 2 weeks, and you can
Mm,
actually design a process through which do this over and over again with different
okay.
people. So can be the prototype thing like a process instead of an actual
Mhm.
product, like
Okay, so
technology.
here
I don't,
we come to the question, what is prototype? Probably that's something
yeah,
we
I
could have
guess.
started with, and definitely I think in your case, so process is a prototype. I think the sketch that you arrived is already a low fidelity prototype that you can engage potential customers with, or potential people who are interested in therapy, and as they, okay, imagine that you had the chance to try out my therapist. What do you think about it? So, and this is the scheme of how it looks, and you would go there, and this would go there. So this is something you already can inquire feedback. The prototype can be the experience itself. So you could use tools that are out there. So you could have a call to action in, I don't know, in social media, and have a Google form that you fill out, and then you somehow connect them. So you can use
Mhm.
existing tools to mash it up, to create experience, to test that. I think in your case, probably, again, I like to distinguish between two type of prototypes. You have marketing prototypes and you have product prototypes. And there's also a difference. With marketing prototypes, you're more testing the interest in the value proposition. So I think here you could do a marketing prototype of a social media campaign or landing page of this, let's say, network of testing out the therapist experience and see how many people sign up. Or you can use that as a more, you can also even create a deck. That can also be a marketing prototype for you to present this idea to the customers to inquire feedback. Or if it's a product prototype, then it can be that experience. You might even, I think you probably at this stage don't need to code the platform where they would manage their relationship or exchange the contacts or thing, but that could also be a prototype. So many ways how to approach it, I think. But probably here's a good point to mention when it comes to prototyping is what are you trying to achieve with it? Because a prototype in its essence is not a product. Prototype is a more of a means of understanding what is it that the product needs to be. So with prototypes, I can engage potential users, customers, patients, stakeholders, inquire feedback. And that helps me, leads me to answering the question, okay, what is that minimum viable product? So what is the minimum set of features, or what is the minimum experience I need to ensure so that they could start using it? And I think when it comes to experience, you don't need even the tech product. So you just need to understand what is the, maybe let me share my screen. So in Miro, you have lots of templates. So you can have customer journey, for example, or um, customer journey or service blueprint, I think might be better for your case since you have many stakeholders probably on the platform. So let's try this. So it might be useful for you to understand how will this experience work. So you have the person that has the therapist, person that doesn't have the therapist, then there's the platform, how this experience should work. And this is something that you can map out and test this as a prototype, but you can also try and simulate this experience using existing tools as I described. So yeah, Yona, how does that make sense? I see you're shaking head.
Yes, it makes sense. I still think I need to better understand what prototype means, but maybe I will just give it a thought after we
Yeah.
finish this session.
Well, like there are so many as I shared in the beginning, I don't even understand what prototype these days is. Like when some people think of prototype, they imagine high-tech pilot projects, like that's physical hardware there already there. I consider prototype as a sketch, like it's a low fidelity, of course, but super
Yeah,
low.
that's the thing. Like all the time I'm thinking about physical things,
Yeah.
but when I think about what I'm good at and what I would like to do, it's more like about processes
All
or
right.
experiences. So that's why maybe I'm having a hard time to properly
Yeah.
understand.
My suggestion for you would be to look into service design.
Say
Service
it
design.
again. Service
Service design.
design.
Um, I think it's a real or experience design because there are also prototypes for doing the experiences and services. Although like at the end of the day, they kind of come together on their design as such, but uh, and there's also a good book. This is service design, doing and thinking. So full of case studies, I think it might be interesting read for you if you're interested in the processes and experiences. Pulse, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly mention regarding the hackathon specifically, it's completely okay. You don't necessarily need to create a physical product or a software product. It can also be a process. Of course, if you'll just tell at the end about I have an idea of running this process, it's going to be tougher to compare it to, a built prototype of a website or an app or something even physical. So in this case, I'd suggest even running a test run of the process so you can later show that, yeah, this happened, we did this in the amount of 3 days. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify maybe if the question arose in somebody's mind whether it needs to be only something physical, software or hardware or whatnot during the hackathon. No, processes, services, anything in this case.
All right. Let me maybe come back to those questions that were posed in the beginning, I think, and see how we have responded to them. Okay, so we kind of maybe let me have this. let's do it this way. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So yeah, I think we had the lengthy discussion what is prototype. I think it probably deserves more time. But essentially, I would say prototype is definitely not the end solution and the product. So this is something that helps you arrive to the product. And prototype is more of a platform for you to engage the users, the customers to understand if you're on the right track, if you're building something that's needed. So therefore, the questions, should I include other people with my prototype? Answer is definite yes. So the sooner you include them, the better. I think doing preliminary research before you engage in the idea might be a good thing as well to give you some more insights. So here, my recommendation for a book is called Mom Test, which pretty much is about helping you not to fall in the trap of people being polite to you and sharing that yeah, your idea is good, but really helping. The book gives you some nice recommendations for how to really understand that the problem you're solving is real. And when should you involve other people? Again, probably it starts from the very, very beginning. And I think probably it also comes not only to when, but how often. And it's better to involve people on a regular basis rather than to do an extensive 3 month research on the problem. No, just do I don't know, one week, 2 weeks of one round of customer interviews, and then you already have some insight. Then you can develop the first kind of proposal of the solution and engage in another one. So that's the best approach in the very beginning. And then when you already have developed your solution and you have data and customers, then you can use more of quantitative means to assess your solution. But in the beginning, I would say qualitative one is the one that uh, is the thing to go for. Process of making idea real. So this is something that we gone through the workshops. So from problem to idea to looking at potential solutions to what you could use to making it more realistic as a prototype. And then there were the last questions on budget. So as you notice for these things, so you don't need much money. It's a matter of your time and commitment, and also bringing this to somewhat um, some sort of a solution there. Like it's all possible. I think where you probably can start have a need with the budget is when you understand what is your MVP scope. So what is the minimum set of features or parts of the product experience that you need to deliver for people to use it and receive value. And that's where you can, yeah, start understanding if for that MVP you need some major investments. Also, a common thing for people in tech setup to do is to create a landing page of, for example, we have this BuzzFeed therapy quiz, so you can do a landing page on it and do, I don't know, for example, if this was a paid quiz, you could, before creating it, you could do a pre-order or pre-purchase or pre-subscribing to the quiz, where you need to pay like symbolic amount of money to get the that's kind of also the business viability if the people are willing to pay for it. Because we're talking here in this session, we're talking more about the customer and customer desirability. But one thing is also understand if they are willing to pay for the solution, because yeah, like although there are many social businesses, I think it really comes to having sustainable finance behind the product as well. But that's I think you probably could use another session on that. So and why I was bringing up this experiment of doing kind of a pre-sale is because that's where you can launch a paid campaign and on I don't know, on Instagram or Facebook to get traction to your site and see if people are willing to pay for it. And that's where you might need some budget if you're doing such an experiment. And how to evaluate the hackathon result? I think this was a question by Maddie. Um, think that comes down to the criteria from Paul's, but again, it comes down also to what do you want to achieve? Why you're doing the hackathon? Do you want to create a new business? Then if you want to create new business, probably a good like KPI to evaluate is probably the customer desirability, and this is something that you can also evaluate by asking a question of so we can try and write that how satisfied I'm with solving the problem. Now, so this is a good question. Like you might have discovery interviews, and this is a question you can pose to the customers, and they might evaluate it for example, 4 from 10, or how satisfied I'd be with solving the problem with BuzzFeed quiz. And maybe that's where we get to. So we kind of have a clear, some kind of validation that, okay, we are maybe not going in the right direction. Of course, this is not like a major like KPI or that you can base your all decisions, but this can be a kind of somewhat of a signal that you can quantify. Or a question that you might also ask is when thinking about a problem, how satisfied I'm solving with the problem. You might also ask how important the problem is. And probably if in the very beginning people say that their problem is 3 out of 10, maybe that's not a problem worth solving. So these are maybe some questions how to evaluate the result of the hackathon if you are engaging the customers. So yeah, well, those 2 hours slide quite fast. I hope it's been um, somewhat useful. Maybe we could do a checkout, and maybe you could write in the chat what is one thing you're taking away from today's session. And meanwhile, I'm going to answer your question, Iona, in the chat. Okay, so I posted the question also in the chat. Okay, want to check sharing. Yeah, I need to dig deeper. Well, again, you probably don't want to do like too much research because it's time is money, and you want to get out there. But you definitely would want to have a good insight. So ideally, you have that insight and you can base it on some research. So nice takeaway. Okay, thanks, Iona. So for the creativity, and I think it's also important to keep it structured. So it's easy to remain at the level of ideas, but it's super important to yeah, try to push to being tangible. But thanks for sharing again all this. Yeah. Yeah, like when it comes to prototyping, so lot of things these days are way more possible. So you don't need to be a developer to develop nice solutions. And okay, nice takeaway. Got to being possible to come with some solutions. Okay, thanks with also for you to share for what you shared. Yeah. Cool. So, what's next? I would really encourage you. So currently, it's not able for you're not able to edit the board anymore, but you can use. So come back to this board and copy and paste everything you have here in your own personal spaces. And then when you form the teams during the next workshop, you can yeah, schedule a call and for 1 or 2 hours and try and do some of the exercises. I think even if you did only the basics, understanding the customer and the problem, I think it would be a big step forward. So good luck. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to yeah, ping me on LinkedIn.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kārlis, for leading this workshop. And I do hope that, well, I saw from the chat that everybody's going out of this workshop with something, one thing or another. It's also cool to see that there are different things. One thing the question that was asked by Madi, I also wanted to quickly answer while we're still recording, while still this is still rolling. I'm going to quickly share the screen myself. And so basically the question was what was expected as the outcome, at least that's how I understood was the expected outcome of the hackathon. And in this case, it varies. Basically, the expected outcome is what you will yourself achieve and do, because more or less, of course, you are competing as teams, and there is a prize at the end of the road for the first place, and so on. But still, mainly you are developing the ideas for yourselves. So even if you don't get to a fully functional prototype, however that might look or that might be, do not give up. If like on the third day and in the morning of the third day you understand, oh, I didn't get there, I'm not going to get there. No, still submit whatever you can. Show what you have done. Because basically, yeah, I'm going to quickly show. I assume you're seeing my screen
Yeah.
of hackathon guidelines. So it's under once you log into the hackathon platform, under the info section, you'll find hackathon guidelines. That's the first of the places. And if you scroll down a bit, there's a lot of information here about what a hackathon is, and etc. and so on, what's expected, what mentors, and so on. And then there's the submission details and what the ideas are going to be evaluated on at the end of the day, at the end of the hackathon. So one of the things is originality of the new product, process, or service. As I mentioned before, it can be a process, it can be a service. Doesn't mean that a product is gonna, have a um, better chance, so to say. They're all equal. And in this case, the uniqueness and features of the thing is going to be what decides it, and the degree to which the product process service is disruptive. Second thing is progress. Basically, today, especially if you'll try to build something you came up with today, then you already begun the process. But we will sort of evaluate the progress from the beginning of the hackathon, which is going to be on the 26th of May. Definitely feel free to ideate up until then, create the team, but to start the work on that day. So yeah, we'll evaluate the progress during those 3 days of the hackathon. The next thing is the potential impact of the hackathon. So what problem is the solution solving, and is the idea viable outside of the hackathon? Because a lot of times the ideas within a hackathon, they are just fun ideas, and that's also completely okay. Please do that. But one of the evaluation criteria is going to be that how viable it is, and the fourth is going to be the demo video that you'll need to create at the end of it. So basically, your pitch or your demo video, that's going to be a whole separate thing on which you're going to be evaluated upon. I'm not going to go into any more detail about what's written here, but yeah, just remember that there is this section guidelines where this information is going to be found. Yeah. So once again, I'd like to say, Kārlis, thank you very, very much for leading this workshop. I think it was very insightful, especially given the time constraints. I think you managed a lot. And I also think this was the first time I tried along with the participants to do the crazy eight and also to draw the second part as well. Yeah, so thank you so much, Kārlis, and also thank you to everybody who joined it live, who was here, asked questions, unmuted themselves, turned on the camera. It first of all helps us organizers to see the participants, but I think it mostly helps Kārlis if he's leading the workshop to see actual faces. Because of course I was going to leave my camera on and keep smiling throughout the process, but it's great that the participants do that as well. So yeah, thanks to everybody who joined it live. And of course, thanks to everybody who's going to be watching this workshop as a recording. We really do hope that this is gonna help you along the way, especially during the hackathon, but that also this knowledge is gonna help you down the road with whatever things you are gonna do in the future. So yeah, as mentioned before, this was the first out of 3 workshops we are gonna run before and during the hackathon. So this was ideation and prototyping, as you probably know, after 1 hour and 57 minutes. The second one is going to take place next Tuesday on May 20th on team creation or team formation. I'm going to be leading that. It's going to be more hands-on. I'm going to invite the participants to pitch their ideas, to share their ideas, and then there is going to be some networking, icebreaker, so on, so to basically put you together into some teams. And then the third workshop is going to take place on the second day of the hackathon, which is going to be May 27th, where we are going to learn about pitching or how best to create that demo video, what is expected of you to be shown there, and what tools to use, and so on and so forth. Alrighty, that's it, I think, from my side. Kārlis, any other words from your side?
Good luck in the hackathon. I think that's super great experience. I think Paul's and the organization is doing great work connecting people across the whole Europe. And I think back some like I think I joined the hackathon last time like 10 years ago. In those days, like it was super hard. Like you had to have a developer in your team to like validate, create some sort of prototype and demo. These days, you can be even solo, but that's not fun. But you can be 3 people all from the same domain, sales, marketing, design, academic, industry or so, and even build something there for which you need a developer. So yeah, good luck and yeah, see you around.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And so, yeah, the final things I remember I needed to mention is that on 19th of May or next Monday, we are going to open up the Slack workspace or communication space where we can have faster communication between organizers and participants. And just remember to register your idea, find the team, and do that before 5 or 4:30 CET on the 26th of May. All right. Once again, thank you, Kārlis. Thank you to everybody who joined, and thank you to everybody who watched the recording.